One of the things that were so hard for me to realize as I was growing up is that it's okay to be alone. Now, what I mean by that is instead of searching for cheap sources of connection, such as social media or online parasocial relationships like watching streamers or watching creators and feeling a sense of connection there, it's actually okay to feel lonely. It's okay to feel that way, despite everyone around us seeming to have relationships or friendships that are successful. I think in 2024, and a lot of the things that we're passionate about often quickly die out. And everything's just held together by a thread, and yet no one's saying anything about it. No, I like to think that it's human nature to want people to care and support you. And the hardest part about all of that is it takes a while to come across one person that's like us. One person that truly supports us. And I want you right now to recall maybe a failed friendship or relationship. And I'm sorry if it gives you some painful thoughts, but it's important, trust me. One of the questions I like to ask is, why do you think you met that person? And why do you think it played out the way it did? And of course, if you're an overthinker like I am, where I like to think about thoughts even. But a lot of the times, the reason why friendships or relationships may fall apart is because during the moment, everything's all good and great. But over time, we really start to see the development of their character. And we start to see some things that are a little bit less compatible. In the sense of love, not only as it pertains to romance, when we show love to others, we try to accept those things. We try to compromise, and we try to make sure that the relationship that we have with this person stays true. It's like if two arrows were steering together, and you have to keep them together as you develop any sort of relationship. And yet so many people are trying to get more and more friends, more followers, more people to surround them. But even then, in the times where I had those types of friends, I can tell you that I did not feel any less lonely. Because I think loneliness is an epidemic nowadays. And only in like university or some sort of event, we can really get to be social. And people really like to be social. Even if you're an introvert like me, or you may be an extrovert that likes to talk to people. It's harder and harder to find moments of genuine human connection. And I find that pretty difficult to overcome. So let me share to you a little bit about my past, and maybe you'll understand where I'm coming from. As I grew up, I came from Vietnam. And back then, my neighborhood and community was not very Vietnamese. So when I brought food from home, and we eat a lot of fish sauce, it smelled not to their taste. Let's put it that way. And so over time, I started saying to my mom, hey mom, can I order pizza or burgers or fries instead, or chicken nuggets? So even with the limited amount of money we had, my mom would go end up buying chicken nuggets and bringing my lunch to school. And through time, that compounded over and over again. And as I got older into middle school, I started to eat more unhealthy because this is a built-up habit from way back when. So I ate chips and Mountain Dew, and I played games on the computer all the time because that's just what I was used to. And so all of this was in search for people to like me. So I abandoned my own cultural roots, I abandoned who I was, what I liked to eat, because the other people didn't like it. But why? I'm getting there, trust me, so hang on. So in middle school, I wanted to play the saxophone actually, or the clarinet. And yet I chose to play the flute because it was the cheapest instrument that was possible, and I felt like it was nice. So overall, not a bad thing. I wanted to play a woodwind instrument, let me put it that way. And throughout that time, most flute players were girls. And so I was just one dude out of just like a group of girls. So I couldn't really find connection that way. So I just played by myself, and I was just quiet by myself. Through time, that compounded into playing tennis. And here I kind of finally found my place. I found people who enjoy the sport like I do, play sports. You know, it's like wholehearted fun. Like, imagine playing a sport with your friends. I mean, you just focus on the game, right? And sometimes you have a good chat here and there, and it's nice. Yet, a part of me, even though I found my community, I still felt like I didn't really have good friends. So I resulted to more people-pleasing, where after school, if somebody needed a ride, I'll give them a ride. And even though I didn't want to, I just wanted to go home. I was tired from, 9 to 5 school, and I just wanted to go home and relax. And not only that, I'm an introvert, so I didn't even want to interact with people. But I went out of my way to people please them. And this was no sense of love by any chance. This isn't out of care. This is more like a narcissistic way of, I want you to like me, so I'm doing this for you. But of course I didn't say it, and I didn't even realize it back then. But this compounded, and over time, I just noticed myself becoming a ball of narcissism, because I just kept thinking about, oh, this is on me. This is due to me. And this has both sides of it. The low self-esteem, narcissistic side, but also the low self-esteem, people-pleasing side. So I started here and I end up over here, where I had a really high ego and I just treated people badly because at that point I was a senior or an upperclassman and I could just do whatever I wanted. And most of the team would have my back because I've been there for the longest, right? But all of it went crumpling down when COVID happened. At first I thought, okay, cool. It's a break, a really long break actually. But over time, the break became a little longer than I expected. And I'm like, I'm supposed to be going to university right now. And I had all these dreams of going to like UT Austin and reinventing myself, or NYU or USC, somewhere cool where I can develop my character. But all the classes were online at this point, and I thought, okay, I'll take the alternative route. I'm going to community college. No shame in community college. But back then I felt pretty shameful that all my friends went to all these prestigious universities, and here I am in community college. So with all this energy that flowed outward, it all started going in. And this is why I say you need to be alone. The reason why I say this is because when I had that time during COVID, I reflected so much. And I think I've gone through 3 journals. There's some on the ground right now. But I've gone through these journals and I wrote down all my thoughts. Why did I act these ways? What even happened? And I started thinking a little bit more deeper into what exactly I'm doing. Because playing games or playing a sport and just mindlessly going throughout the day, it's not really living, right? I think it's just accomplishing a goal. And it's healthy to set goals, but just know what it's for. See, before all of this, I used to record podcasts from time to time, and it started out as something as wholesome as the idea of helping somebody have a friend and sharing with them stories and life lessons that I've learned. But through time, it started modifying a little bit more. It was like, oh, how many views can I get? How many likes can I get? And we as people are always vulnerable to that. We're always going to be vulnerable to more. But what's really helped me recently just understand where I'm at and where I want to be heading is just that energy to turn inside. The capability of being alone. I'm not saying be with people, but be in silence and not interacting with them. I'm saying genuinely be alone. Not coexistence, nothing. Because what ended up happening is, when I had nothing, what I did was I started experimenting with my life. I went out to places that I would never expect myself to go out to. I went to parks just to think and enjoy the weather and the sky, touch grass basically. And I also did things like become a realtor and try to talk to adults like an adult would with no business education. And all this was because I was okay with being alone. Because all people around us hold expectations on us. I promise you that. We act in ways and roles all the time because the people around us see us a certain way. In psychology, this term is called the looking glass self, where you see what they see back to you. So it's really complicated. When you're alone, it's really simple. I'm not even diving into the world of stimulation like TikTok and streamers and whatnot, entertainment values, but just try to be alone for some time. Just understand that your feeling of loneliness is not going to be here forever. Because like me, I was alone for nearly 20 years of my life. No good friends, nothing. I had family, but some people don't have that either. But when I went to university, all that energy accumulated so then I could create communities that resonate with me. And now that I've found really good people that I can truly call friends, I'm happy. These people think and contrast my ideas and agree with me and support me. And it's all these factors that contribute to building a meaningful relationship. I'm sure you had moments like that. Maybe it be on the grass of a soccer field, looking up the stars, or in a high-rise where you're looking down at the city lights and chatting with somebody deeply, getting to know them really. Those moments are moments we should cherish. And those are the type of moments and people we should be looking for. And I know that we all change, but I just want you to be okay by yourself as well. Because as time goes along, it's important to remember that you're the one who goes to sleep by yourself and you wake up by yourself. And if not, you're in your dreams by yourself at least. And you spend the most time thinking about yourself. So just think a little bit more. I'm sure you'll be good. If you liked what you just heard, I'd love to know what your thoughts are in the comments. And for most part, I'd love to know how you feel free to reach out to me in any sort of way. And let's have a conversation, because I find that no matter where you are in life, perspective is the one thing that helps you find out who you really like and what you really want to be. And as long as we put the pieces of the puzzle together every single day, we're going to get closer to our ideal life.